Call to tomorrow. I, 12 executives stood up and walked out while I was mid-sentence in the strategy meeting. We're done listening to her failures, the CEO announced. The room emptied. I sat alone for 30 seconds. When now? Then I pulled out my phone, dialed one number, and said 7 words. They did exactly what you said they would. All of them. Every single one. You'll find out tomorrow. Odd. It's all recorded. The sound of their footsteps echoed in the vast, polished conference room as the door clicked shut behind them. She slid, "You'll find out tomorrow." I remained seated, the sharp contrast of their departure stinging in the silence they left behind. I had expected this, had even prepared for it. But the reality of it still hit me like a punch to the gut. The humiliation was a bitter taste in my mouth. You'll find out tomorrow. I was a director at a major corporation supposed to be respected, trusted, and listened to. Yet here I was alone in this room, find out tomorrow. With nothing but my data and a sinking sense of betrayal. The lights above flickered slightly. You'll find out tomorrow. As if they too felt the weight of what had just happened. She replied, out tomorrow. The projector continued to hum, casting the same damning numbers on the screen that had caused the executives to flee. You'll find out tomorrow. My hand shook slightly as I pushed the chair back, the motion seeming louder in the quiet. You'll find out tomorrow. I glanced at the now empty seats, knowing each one belonged to someone who had once praised my integrity, my attention to detail, my work ethic. You'll find it out tomorrow. And now, they were gone. I could almost hear their footsteps in my mind, each one another step away from the truth I had spent months gathering. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." They thought they could walk away, thought they could leave me in this dim room with nothing but the evidence of their failure. But they were wrong, or I wasn't going to barned. I wasn't going to let it end like this. I would make them listen, whether they wanted to or not. I took a deep breath, steadied myself. Tomorrow. The humiliation threatened to creep up on me, but I pushed it down. Instead, I focused on the phone in my hand. You'll find out tomorrow. I had only one number saved in this phone, one number I had hoped I'd never need. I hadn't planned on making the call today, but I had no other choice. The weight of my decision pressed down on me, but I pushed it away. This was the moment I had expected them to walk out. She'll find out tomorrow. You'll find out. But what I hadn't expected was how much it had hurt. The years of hard work, the belief in their system, had led to this. It was all falling apart. But I was still standing. My thumb hovered over the call button for a moment, the weight of what I was about to do sinking in. I had crossed a line now. There was no turning back. I tapped the screen. The phone rang twice before the voice answered. Is this Leona? The voice asked, calm and steady. It is, I replied, fighting to keep my voice even. They did exactly what you said they would, I said, tomorrow. My words ringing out in the otherwise silent room. All of them. The voice on the other end was quiet for a moment. All of them. Every single one, I confirmed. And it's all recorded. The voice on the line didn't hesitate. Give me 4 hours. I ended the call, placing my phone down and carefully on the table, my mind racing. You'll find out tomorrow. The executives thought they had won. They thought they had silenced me, dismissed me. But I was about to turn the tables. You'll find out tomorrow. The next few hours would change everything. They had no idea what was coming. The phone call ended, leaving me alone in the darkened conference room. The silence was almost unbearable. When I asked you'll find out tomorrow, I could still hear the faint echo of the executives' footsteps, their deliberate exit playing in my mind like a broken record. You'll find out tomorrow. I could almost feel the weight of their dismissal, the way it had crushed the air from the room. Tomorrow. The way it had drained every ounce of confidence I had built over the past months. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. But even as I sat there still in the wake of the rejection, I couldn't ignore the fact that this was the moment I had been waiting for. Tomorrow? I glanced at the projector, still casting the damning data onto the wall. The evidence was clearer than it had ever been. She replied, you find out tomorrow. The faulty equipment, the falsified test results, the ignored complaints from customers who trusted us with their lives, it was all there. You'll find out tomorrow. I had spent months collecting this evidence, painstakingly piecing together the truth. I thought I was prepared for this. Hayes replied, if I don't tomorrow. But even as I looked at it, a part of me couldn't help but feel a rush of disbelief. How could they ignore it? How could they walk away? You'll find out tomorrow. I stood up slowly, my legs unsteady. My hands shook slightly as I gathered my things, the weight of the moment sinking in. You'll find out tomorrow. The emptiness of the room felt suffocating. I took a deep breath, pushing the emotions down, trying to focus on the task ahead. Tomorrow. There was no time to waste. I had to act, and fast. I left the conference room and walked down the long, sterile hallway toward my office. The fluorescent lights hummed above me, casting a sterile glow over everything. The clack of my heels echoed off the walls. You'll find out tomorrow. And the silence only made it more oppressive. I had to admit, this wasn't how I had imagined my first big presentation going. I had thought they'd listen. You'll find out tomorrow. I had thought the evidence would speak for itself. But I was wrong. When I reached my office, I closed the door behind me and sank into the chair. You'll find out tomorrow. The walls, once filled with my awards and accomplishments, now felt like a reminder of everything that had gone wrong. You'll find out tomorrow. I rubbed my temples, trying to push past the frustration. But there was something else simmering under the surface, something colder. Betrayal. You'll find out tomorrow. I had trusted them. I had believed that, despite the cracks in the system, we could fix it. You'll find out tomorrow. But now, it felt like I'd been nothing more than a pawn in a game I didn't understand. I pulled out my phone again, staring at the screen. The name I had dialed earlier still flashed on it. Eliza. You'll find out tomorrow. If I had only met her a few weeks ago, and even then, I hadn't fully understood the depth of her involvement. She had been quiet, cautious, find out tomorrow. But she had made it clear she had her own agenda, a shared agenda. I knew that. Together, we could bring this down, but part of me still hesitated. I didn't want to rely on anyone, not anymore, but I didn't have a choice. I had crossed the line, and now it was time to push forward. You'll find out tomorrow. I scrolled to her name and tapped the screen, holding the phone to my ear as it rang. You'll find out tomorrow. Each ring, flight of Ivankan eternity, the weight of what I was about to do pressing heavily on my chest. The call connected, and I heard Eliza's calm, steady voice on the other end. Leona, she said, as though she had been waiting for my call. What happened? They did exactly what you said they would. I replied, my voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside me. All of them. Find out tomorrow. There was a pause on the other end, and I could almost hear the wheels turning in her mind. All of them. Every single one. I confirmed, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. And it's all recorded. I could hear her exhale. The tension in her voice momentarily fading. Good. Stay where you are. Don't make any moves. I'll handle the rest. Give me 4 hours. Tomorrow. I ended the call, the words lingering in the air. 4 hours. It felt like a lifetime. But in that moment, I knew I had made the right choice. There was no going back now. They had walked out. They had dismissed me. But I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. You'll find out tomorrow. I leaned back in my chair, letting the silence settle around me. For the first time in a long while, I felt a strange sense of clarity. Tomorrow. The fight is over. It had just begun. And this time, I wasn't going to let anyone walk away from the truth. I sat in my office, staring at the blank wall. Fought out tomorrow. The silence pressed in on me. It felt as though the entire building had frozen in time. I had made the call. I had crossed the line. And now, everything was set in motion. But a nagging feeling lingered. What if I had missed something? You find out tomorrow. What if I hadn't done enough to protect myself, to protect the evidence? The sense of betrayal gnawed at me. Tomorrow. I had worked so hard to uncover the truth, to be the one who would fix everything. And yet, here I was, find out tomorrow. Feeling abandoned by the very people who should have supported me. You find out tomorrow. Baxter, Vivian Monster, they had all told me how important I was, how much they needed me. I had believed them. Until now, I glanced at the clock. You'll find out tomorrow on. The minutes seemed to drag on. Each one felt like an eternity. 4 hours. That's how long Eliza needed to make her move. You'll find out tomorrow. I had no choice but to wait to trust that she would follow through. My mind wandered back to when I first started at the company. You'll find out tomorrow. I had come in with fresh eyes, determined to make a difference. Baxter had spoken so highly of me during the interview. "Why need someone like you?" he'd said. Tomorrow. Someone who can identify the small cracks in the system and fix them before they become real problems. I had believed in that. Find out tomorrow. I had believed in myself. But now, those cracks weren't small, they were massive, and they ran deep. The safety violations, the falsified reports, the ignored complaints were the tip of the iceberg. Thomas, my predecessor, had known this. You'll find out tomorrow. He had been the first to uncover it, but his efforts had been silenced, hidden away. Find out tomorrow. No one had wanted to listen to him, just like no one wanted to listen to me. When I had first started digging, the signs were subtle. You'll find out tomorrow. A missing report here, a discrepancy there. But the more I looked, the more I realized that this wasn't just a few mistakes. This was systematic corruption. You'll find out tomorrow. The kind of thing that could bring down a company if it ever saw the light of day. And now I had the proof. The sound of a faint knock on the door startled me. I didn't move immediately. I wasn't expecting anyone. But then the door creaked open. I and Jessica stepped inside. You'll find out tomorrow. Her presence was a welcome distraction. She didn't say anything at first, just closed the door behind her and sat down across from me. And you'll find out tomorrow. Her eyes studied me carefully, but she didn't ask any questions. She knew what had happened. We had talked before about the company, about my findings. To end Mora gone. She didn't need to ask how it had gone. The answer was obvious. After a few seconds of silence, she finally spoke. What's the plan? Exhaled slowly. The plan is to wait. Jessica raised an eyebrow. You're going to just wait. After everything that happened. I nodded. Po. There's nothing more I can do right now. Eliza's handling it. We just need to give her time. Jessica leaned back in her chair, clearly unconvinced. First Maros. And what if they come after you? What if they try to cover it all up before anything happens? Pasa tomorrow. I looked at her, the weight of her question hanging between us. Then I'll deal with it. I don't have a choice anymore. My voice was steadier than I felt. I've come this far. I'm not backing down now. Jessica studied me for a long moment, her expression softening. I know you won't. She paused. Just be careful. They won't go down easily. Oh, I know, I said quietly, a shiver running down my spine. You'll find out tomorrow. We sat in silence for a moment, the reality of the situation settling in. I had made my choice. I had chosen to fight. To expose the truth no matter the cost. You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to get a whole lot worse before they got better. The hours dragged on. You'll find out tomorrow. And eventually, the call came. I knew it was coming, but hearing Eliza's voice on the other end still sent a chill through me. Leona, she said, her tone all business. We're in position. Everything's set up, it's time. I stood up quickly, my heart racing. Are they moving in now? Not yet. I need you to hold tight. We'll need to move fast once we have everything in place. Just stay out of sight. You'll find out tomorrow. Trust me, we've got this. I could hear the faint sound of voices in the background, a sense of urgency in the way she spoke. I'll stay here. I said, my mind already racing. Just tell me what to do. Eliza, I said, trying to steady my breathing. This is it. We're doing the... We are. She confirmed. And by the end of today, they won't know what hit them. I ended the call, feeling a mixture of dread and determination. Planton was time. The waiting had been the hardest part, but now it was time. Time to finish what I started, and this time, no one was walking away. The knock on my door caught me off guard. You'll find out tomorrow. I had been so absorbed in the whirlwind of thoughts swirling through my mind that I hadn't heard anyone approach. My heart skipped a beat. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't expecting anyone, but I could feel the weight of the moment, the tension in the air. You'll find out tomorrow. The door creaked open, and Jessica stepped in, her presence almost like a breath of fresh air in the otherwise stuffy room. I'll find it tomorrow. She didn't need to say anything, the look on her face said it all. She knew what had happened, and she was here for me. No questions asked. You find out tomorrow. As she closed the door behind her and took a seat across from me, you'll find out tomorrow. Her eyes scanning the room as if she were assessing the situation before offering her usual dose of pragmatic advice. I could sense her hesitation. This wasn't just another routine check in. I asked why. She replied, Jessica knew this was a turning point for me, for everything we had been working toward. She could feel it. Tomorrow. Too. The weight of the impending storm that was coming. But she stayed silent for a moment, as if allowing me the space to speak first. Took a slow breath, trying to gather my thoughts up. You'll find out tomorrow. They walked out. I said, my voice steady, though there was an edge of frustration that I couldn't entirely hide. Just like that. Tomorrow. Left me standing in front of that screen with all the evidence and just walked out. Jessica nodded, her gaze never leaving mine. What do you plan to do next? She'll find out tomorrow. She asked, her voice calm, but there was an urgency behind her words, a sense that time was ticking, and the consequences of inaction were mounting. Tomorrow. I didn't have to think about it long. I've made the call, I said, pulling out my phone and showing her the name on the screen. Elise's in position. Her eyes widened slightly. You're really doing this, aren't you? Yes, I replied, my voice firm. There's no going back now. I've waited long enough. They think they can bury the truth. They think they can walk away from it. But they're wrong. Jessica leaned back in her chair, her expression unreadable for a moment. Then slowly, she nodded. I get it, she said. They'll find out tomorrow. But you need to be careful. They've got a lot of power and they won't go down without a fight. You can't do this alone, Leona. You need to trust someone. I met Shuju. Harp, it's a moderators. I met her gaze, feeling the weight of her words. Trust. It was a word I hadn't allowed myself to consider in a long time. Famias, I had built my career on self-reliance, on doing the hard work and never asking for help. But now, with everything on the line, I knew I couldn't do it alone. You'll find out tomorrow. The thought of letting someone else shoulder some of the burden, terrified me. But I didn't have a choice anymore. No, I said softly. I'm trusting Eliza, and I'm trusting you too. Tomorrow, out. Jessica gave me a small smile, though I could see the concern still lingering in her eyes. You've got this, she said, her voice steady. You'll find out tomorrow. But just remember there's a lot at stake here, the people you're going up against. They won't hesitate to pull strings to make this go away, so stay sharp. I nodded, feeling a strange sense of calm settle over me. Jessica was right, there was a lot at stake. But this wasn't just about me anymore, and when I asked why she'll find out tomorrow, it was about the people who had been hurt, the ones who had trusted the company with their safety, only to be betrayed. The truth needed to come out, no matter the cost. You're right, I said, my voice quieter now. It's not just about what they've done to me. You'll find out tomorrow. It's about everything they've hidden. The lies, the cover-ups, it's all going to come out. You'll find out tomorrow. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of what was to come pressing down on us both. I could feel the adrenaline starting to build inside me. The anticipation of what was coming next. You'll find out tomorrow. But even with everything I had uncovered, I couldn't ignore the part of me that feared what would happen once it all came crashing down. Tomorrow. Jessica stood up and walked over to the door, pausing with her hand on the handle. I'll be here, Leona, she said, her voice soft but determined. I too. Whatever happens, I'm with you. I smiled, a real smile this time, one that felt like a weight lifting from my shoulders. Thank you, I said. You'll find out tomorrow. I know, meaning it more than I could express in words. With a final nod, she stepped out of the room, leaving me alone again with my thoughts. I wasn't out. Tomorrow. But this time I wasn't alone. I had allies, I had the truth, and I had nothing left to lose. I sat back in my chair and closed my eyes for a moment. Tomorrow. I, trying to center myself before the storm hit. Eliza was ready, the evidence was in place, and now, it was time to take the next step. You'll find out tomorrow. The game was on, and this time, I wasn't going to let anyone walk away from the truth. At my desk, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. Out tomorrow. The minutes were crawling by, each second dragging like an eternity. You'll find out tomorrow. I had been waiting for Eliza's call, the one that would tell me it was time to make my move. But as the seconds turned to minutes, she'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't shake the feeling and unease settling in my stomach. Every instinct screamed that something was about to change. You'll find out tomorrow. I had expected the game to unfold quickly, but the stillness of the room made it feel like the calm before the storm. The company I had once trusted. You'll find out tomorrow. The people I had once believed in, Baxter, Vivian, Monroe, had shown me their true faces. You'll find out. By tomorrow. They had walked out on me, dismissed the truth I had presented, and left me standing alone. Now, the real work had begun. I had seen their arrogance. You'll find out tomorrow. Their belief that they could silence me, and I knew there was no turning back. You'll find out tomorrow. But the weight of their dismissal still lingered, gnawing at the edges of my resolve. They had made it personal. You'll find out tomorrow. The faint hum of my computer was the only sound in the room, punctuated by the soft clink of my watch ticking on my wrist. You'll find tomorrow. I'd felt as though the room itself was holding its breath. You'll find out tomorrow. I glanced at the time again. 2 hours had passed since Eliza's last message. It was time. I stood up, suddenly filled with a quiet urgency. You'll find out tomorrow. Every part of me screamed to take action, but I had to wait. I had to trust that Eliza had everything under control. The plan had been in motion for weeks, months even, and I had gathered enough evidence to tear their lies apart. But what if they still had a way out? You'll find out tomorrow. What if they could stop everything before it reached the light of day? I knew better than to think I was untouchable. Tomorrow. These were powerful people who had a way of making things disappear. But I couldn't let that fear stop me. I had come this far. And now, you'll find out tomorrow. With everything in place, I would see it through to the end. A buzz from my phone snapped me out of my thoughts. It was a message from Eliza. You'll find out tomorrow. We're in position. Everything's ready. That was all it said, but it was enough. I took a deep breath, grabbing my things and heading for the door. The next few hours would decide everything. You'll find out tomorrow. As I stepped out of my office, I walked with purpose, my steps steady despite the chaos that churned beneath my calm exterior. The building was still, pied. You'll find out tomorrow. Too still. The halls, usually filled with noise, seemed eerily quiet as I passed by the empty offices, the sterile white walls reflecting the silence. You'll find out tomorrow. I made my way to the back entrance of the building, the one that led to the alley behind the offices. We found out tomorrow, where I could meet Eliza without drawing attention. Every step felt calculated, every movement measured. I had made my choice. Kivu, you'll find out tomorrow. I had decided to stand for what was right, even if it meant going up against everyone who had ever believed in me. As I approached the back door, you'll find out tomorrow, I saw a shadow moving in the distance, and I recognized Eliza immediately. You find out tomorrow. She stood there, her posture confident, her gaze scanning the surroundings as she waited for me. Her presence, so steady and unwavering, tomorrow, was a stark contrast to the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me. You ready? Tomorrow. She asked, her voice calm but tinged with the weight of what we were about to do. I nodded, the sense of finality settling in. I've never been more ready. Odalisa smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile that came from excitement. You'll find out tomorrow. It was the smile of someone who had seen this kind of fight before and knew exactly what needed to be done. Good. Let's finish this. Kapai tomorrow show. We walked side by side toward the waiting van, my heart racing with each step. You'll find out tomorrow. As we reached the vehicle, I could hear the sounds of the city fading away, replaced by the hum of the engine starting up. The door slid open. Paquaro. Then I climbed inside, my mind already racing through the next steps. Eliza sat beside me, pulling out her tablet and quickly reviewing the files we had prepared. It's all here, she said. Everything they've hidden. Tomorrow? Everything they've covered up. The raid teams are already on their way to the executives' homes. I felt a shiver run down my spine. This was it. You'll find out tomorrow. The pieces were falling into place. But even as the plan unfolded before me, a part of me couldn't help but wonder if I had done enough. Could we really take down an empire built on lies? Could we expose the truth without everything crumbling around us? Tomorrow. But there was no time for doubts now. Eliza's hand rested on the tablet. Her eyes focused. "We've got this," she said quietly, and for the first time in days I believed her. "You'll find out tomorrow." The van sped toward the destination, the city lights flashing past, each one a reminder of the fight ahead. "You'll find out tomorrow." This was bigger than any of us, but it was too late to turn back. I had already stepped into the unknown, and there was no going back now. "You'll find out tomorrow." The truth would come out, and nothing at all could stop it. The van came to a stop, and for a moment the world outside felt distant, unreal. "You'll find out tomorrow." I could hear my heartbeat in my ears as I sat there, staring out the window at the dark streets. Every streetlight seemed to blur into the next, a stream of light in the darkness. This was it. The final step. The consequences of everything I had done, everything I had uncovered, were about to unfold. Eliza shifted beside me, her eyes scanning the tablet in her hands. "We're in position," she said softly, almost to herself, before turning to me. "Everything's ready, we're going in." I nodded, though the words felt too small for the moment. There was no turning back now. "You'll find out tomorrow." The weight of the files in my hands felt like 100 pounds. I could practically feel the years of corruption, of secrecy, pushing against me. "I find it tomorrow's." But I wasn't afraid anymore. What they had done, what they had hidden, was about to come to light. There was no escaping that. I stepped out of the van and into the cool night air. The city felt eerily still, as though it was holding its breath. "You'll find out tomorrow." Waiting for something to happen, my legs moved instinctively, like a well-practiced routine, as Eliza followed closely behind me. We didn't speak as we made our way to the building. "You'll find out tomorrow." I could feel the anticipation in the air, the tension rising with each step. When we reached the entrance, "You'll find out tomorrow." The security guard glanced us but didn't question us. He probably didn't even notice who we were. He had no idea that in just a few hours, his entire world would be turned upside down. "You'll find out tomorrow." Inside, the hallway was quiet, the kind of quiet that made everything seem just a little too sharp. Every sound seemed louder. "You'll find out tomorrow." My shoes clicking against the floor echoed as we moved. I felt my heart rate quicken with every passing second, but I pushed the nerves aside. Tomorrow. The files I was holding weren't just paper. They were proof. Proof that the lies would finally come to an end. Eliza stopped at the security desk. "You'll find out tomorrow." Pulling out a badge that I hadn't seen before. Her demeanor shifted as she presented it to the guard, her voice steady and professional. "Bulls. We're here to see the records. Federal warrant." The guard barely blinked before nodding. He didn't ask for anything more. Or out tomorrow. So it was too late for him to be of any use to them. The legal team, the executives, the entire structure, they were all about to be exposed. Found out tomorrow. I followed Eliza down the hall, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. What if it wasn't enough? What if we missed something? "You'll find out tomorrow." But the longer I stood there, the more certain I became. I had come too far. We had all come too far. Eliza paused at a door, glancing over at me. "Tomorrow." "This is it," she said, her voice a mix of anticipation and resolve. She opened the door, and I stepped into the room behind her. "Find out tomorrow." The room was lit with the pale glow of fluorescent lights, casting harsh shadows on the walls. Documents and files were scattered across the desk. "She will find out tomorrow." But it wasn't the physical mess that caught my attention. It was the realization of how close we were to bringing down the entire operation. "You'll find out tomorrow." The pieces of the puzzle were right in front of us. Eliza moved quickly, pulling open drawers and grabbing files from every corner of the room. "You'll find out tomorrow." I followed her lead, my fingers trembling slightly as I picked up the papers that had the potential to ruin everything. Every name, every date. You'll find out tomorrow. Every falsified report was there. They thought they had covered their tracks. They thought they were untouchable, but they hadn't counted on us. Tomorrow. We've got everything we need, Eliza said, her voice now full of quiet satisfaction. I nodded, my hands still holding the papers, but my mind racing. I'll shoo. How much time before the raid teams hit the executives? Eliza glanced at her watch. They're on their way now. It's already in motion. I felt the weight of her words settle on my chest. This was it. The moment we had all been working toward. It felt like a blur, the anticipation. You'll find out tomorrow. The uncertainty, the years of lies, and now we were here, ready to change everything. I glanced at the clock. You'll find out tomorrow. In just a few minutes the raids would begin, and the top executives, the ones who had walked out on me, you'll find out tomorrow, would be facing the consequences of their actions. Baxter, Monroe, Vivian, they thought they were invincible. But now they were about to realize that no one is untouchable. You'll find out tomorrow. The sound of footsteps approached the door, and I turned to see Eliza holding up a small device. She pressed a button. Tomorrow? And the soft beep echoed in the room. It was done. The data was sent. The agents were in position. Everything we had done, tomorrow. Everything we had worked for, was about to pay off. I'm not just doing this for me, I said, my voice suddenly more confident. This isn't about revenge. This is about justice. For Thomas. For the patients. For everyone they've hurt. Eliza gave me a look that said she understood completely. You've done more than anyone else could. They'll find out tomorrow. Now it's time for them to face the truth. The door opened, and the sound of more footsteps echoed down the hall. Agents were here. You'll find out tomorrow, ready to take over. This was it. The tipping point. There would be no going back after tonight. One more ass. We're done here, Eliza said, giving me one last glance as we walked out. Let's go finish this. And just like that, we walked out of the room. You'll find out tomorrow. Leaving behind the evidence, the truth, and everything that had brought us to this point. This was the beginning of the end for them. You'll find out tomorrow. And for me, it was the moment I had been waiting for. The hum of the van's engine faded as we made our way through the city streets. You'll find out tomorrow. I sat in the back, my eyes fixed on the flashing lights of the buildings as they passed by. My mind raced with 1,000 thoughts. You'll find out tomorrow. Every street we turned down felt like another step toward the moment that would define everything I had worked for. This was it. There was no turning back now. I had spent months gathering the evidence, piecing together the web of lies, cover-ups, and corruption. Now, while the storm was finally breaking, you'll find out tomorrow. The executives who had walked out on me dismissed me like I was nothing more than an inconvenience. You'll find out tomorrow. Were about to face the consequences of their actions. They had thought they were untouchable. They had thought they could silence the truth. But tonight, they would learn they were wrong. You'll find tomorrow. Eliza, who sat beside me, didn't speak as we drove. She was calm, collected, nothing like the whirlwind of nerves that churned inside me. You'll find out tomorrow. She had done this before, been in the trenches of these operations. For her, this was just another case, another step in the long road to justice. You'll find out tomorrow. For me, it felt different. This was personal. They had humiliated me. They had ignored the truth I had presented. You'll find out tomorrow. And now I was about to make them answer for it. As we reached the building, I could see the police cars parked outside, lights flashing in the night. You'll find out tomorrow. The air was thick with tension, and my heart pounded in my chest. Everything I had done, everything I had fought for, was about to come to a head. I could feel the weight of it pressing down on me. But I didn't stop. I couldn't stop now. Eliza turned to me, her face illuminated by the glow of the streetlights. You ready? She asked. You'll find out tomorrow. Her voice steady but with an underlying note of something, perhaps even excitement. She knew what was at stake, and she knew what this moment meant. I nodded, my throat tight. As ready as I'll ever be. We got out of the van and walked toward the entrance. The The building loomed toward before us, silent and imposing. You'll find out tomorrow, Ivan. There was something almost surreal about the moment. I had spent so long imagining this, wondering how it would feel when the moment finally came. She applied her, you'll find out tomorrow. And now that I was here, if like time had slowed down, every step I took toward that door felt heavier than the last. Inside, you'll find out tomorrow. The atmosphere was tense. The usual hum of office activity was absent, replaced by a strange stillness that only made the situation more real. You'll find out tomorrow. Every shadow seemed to stretch longer than it should, as if the building itself was aware of what was happening. You'll find out tomorrow. I could hear the faint shuffle of footsteps as we moved down the hall, Eliza leading the way. You'll find out tomorrow. The security guard at the front didn't even raise an eyebrow when Eliza flashed her badge. You'll find out tomorrow. It was almost as if the entire system had accepted that change was coming, that nothing would stop it now. We reached the boardroom. You'll find out tomorrow. I hesitated for a moment, looking at the door. Behind it, the executives were most likely scrambling, trying to contain the inevitable. You'll find out tomorrow. I could almost hear the frantic whispers, the panic that was no doubt taking hold of them. They had no idea what was coming. And what's that? Pedas on tomorrow. I calculate. It fell, and that was exactly how I wanted it. Eliza pushed the door open, and we walked inside. The room was silent, all eyes on us as we entered. It was almost too quiet. She will find out tomorrow. The executives were there, their faces a mixture of confusion and irritation. They had expected to continue their charade. You'll find out tomorrow. Now, I know their game of corporate manipulation, but now that was over. The truth was finally in their hands. Fought out tomorrow. We need to speak with all of you, Eliza said, her voice crisp and professional. We've got warrants for your records. This is a federal investigation. The room froze. The faces of the executives, who had once been so confident, so sure of their power, now looked uncertain. You'll find out tomorrow. Baxter, Vivian Monroe, they all stared at us, and I could see the tension building in their eyes. They had underestimated me. I'll find out tomorrow. They had thought they could walk away from everything, but now they were trapped. Baxter stood up, his face flushed with anger. This is outrageous, he spat. You find out tomorrow. I can't do this. You have no right. Eliza didn't flinch. We have every right. You've been running a company on lies and deception for too long. Tomorrow. And now it's time for you to answer for it. I stepped forward, my hands trembling slightly as I held up the folder. Mara, you thought you could silence me, I said, my voice steady even. But I'm not going away. You can't hide from the truth anymore. Vivian stood next, her composure failing for the first time. You don't know what you're doing, she said, her voice shaky. This is bigger than you. You'll ruin everything. No, I replied, my eyes fixed on her. You're the ones who ruined everything. You just never thought anyone would find out. I felt a surge of satisfaction as I spoke, but it was quickly overshadowed by a wave of exhaustion. Tomorrow. The fight had taken so much out of me, but I couldn't stop. Not now. Eliza stepped forward and flashed her badge again. Molif. You're coming with us, she said, her tone firm. All of you. I could hear the officers moving into the room behind us. And I knew the raid was already in motion. Find out tomorrow. The executives had no way of stopping what was happening now. Their empire was crumbling around them, piece by piece. You'll find out tomorrow. They had thought they could bury the truth, but now they would have to face it. As I watched them, their faces a mixture of disbelief and anger, I felt a strange sense of calm. I had done it. We had done it. The truth was out, and now there was nothing they could do to stop it. One by one, the executives were escorted out. Their hands cuffed, their power stripped away. What you'll find out tomorrow. As they passed by me, their eyes filled with resentment. I couldn't help but feel a small sense of triumph. They had underestimated me. You'll find out tomorrow. And now they were paying the price. This was just the beginning. But for the first time in a long while, felt like I was finally in control of my own destiny. She'll find out tomorrow. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing on the nightstand. My eyes were heavy. You'll find it out tomorrow. the weight of everything that had happened still settling on me. The first rays of daylight filtered through the blinds, casting long shadows across the room. I sat up slowly, feeling the sharp reminder of exhaustion in my bones. But today was different. You'll find out tomorrow. I picked up the phone and saw the news notifications flash across the screen. Headlines screamed about the executive's arrests. You'll find out tomorrow. The corporate scandal that was shaking the foundation of the company. You'll find out tomorrow. It was happening. The world was waking up to the truth. I leaned back against the headboard, the reality of the situation sinking in. Lakenza, you'll find out tomorrow. The whirlwind of the past few days had left me exhausted, but there was a sense of peace in knowing that the truth was no longer hidden. The lies had been exposed. For when who I asked replied, the people who had once tried to silence me, to push me aside, were now facing the consequences. And I had done it. We had done it. You'll find out tomorrow. I thought about the long hours spent gathering evidence, the countless sleepless nights, the doubts that had crept into my mind. Would they believe me? You'll find out tomorrow. Would I make a difference? But I had pushed through, driven by the one thing that had never wavered, my belief in the truth. You'll find out tomorrow. The power of that truth had been the key all along. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Eliza. We're ahead of schedule. Out tomorrow. The investigation is moving faster than expected. The company's stock has already plummeted. They're scrambling. I couldn't help but smile. You'll find out tomorrow. Everything was falling apart for them, just like I had known it would. Kalta replied, you'll find out tomorrow. Their carefully constructed empire was crumbling piece by piece, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. Tomorrow. Oh no. I walked to the window and looked out at the city below. The streets were still waking up, the hum of the morning rush starting to fill the air. You'll find out tomorrow. It felt surreal knowing that everything had changed overnight. For a moment, I allowed myself to savor the quiet triumph. The fight wasn't over. You'll find out tomorrow. But this was a victory. The phone buzzed again, this time a call from Jessica. I picked it up, feeling the weight of the past few days lifting with each passing second. Hey, I said, my voice still a little hoarse. Hey yourself, Jessica replied, her voice warm. I just saw the news. I can't believe it. You did it, you really did it. I laughed softly, the sound a little foreign to me after everything. We did it, I corrected. It wasn't just me. It was everyone who believed in this. Everyone who saw the truth. I know, she said. But you, Leona, you were the one who stood up. You didn't back down. Maro. I paused, the weight of her words settling in. I couldn't. Not after everything that happened. There was a brief silence. And then Jessica's voice softened. Are you okay? I took a deep breath, letting the calm settle in. Yeah, I'm good, Kida. I'm better than I've been in a long time. This is what I've been waiting for. The truth is finally out there. I'm proud of you, she said quietly. I smiled. Thanks. I couldn't have done it without you. You don't have to thank me, she replied, a hint of playfulness in her tone. You're the one who did all the hard work. I shook my head, though she couldn't see me. No, we did it together. I hung up the phone and stood by the window for a few more moments. Watching the world move on around me. The fight wasn't over, I knew that. There would be more battles, more challenges ahead. But for now, there was peace. Abide light. The company was in chaos. The executives who thought they were untouchable were facing charges. And I was finally free. Tuede Maro. Free from the constant weight of their lies. Free from the fear of being silenced. It was over. The moment I had worked toward for so long had arrived, and I had come out on top. You'll find out tomorrow. But even more than that, I had learned something about myself in the process. I had learned to trust, to fight for what was right. You'll find out tomorrow. Even when it seemed impossible. And now, as I watched the city below, I knew that this was just the beginning. You'll find out tomorrow. The truth had a way of changing everything, and I would never stop fighting for it. I picked up my phone one last time, sending a message to Eliza. You'll find out tomorrow. Let's make sure they never get the chance to do this again. Then I turned off the phone and walked out into the day, ready for whatever came next.